Hello everybody, today we're going to be making a toilet brush holder. So we're going to start off centering 4 pounds of clay. I'm using a lot more clay than I'm actually going to need for the vessel because I am going to be making the toilet bowl itself, which will have another section at the bottom that I will leave thick and trim out later so that I have the bowl and also the footrest part of the toilet itself. So now that I've centered my piece, I am going to start making the actual bowl shape. So I'm going to create the bottom or the foot of the toilet bowl to about here, and then have the actual toilet bowl seat and bowl itself right here and ending about there. If it goes a little bit past, it's no big deal. But we're actually gonna keep this large hunk of clay at the bottom and then trim it out afterwards so that you have that stable foot. So I'm shaping out the bottom with my rib tool, figuring out where I want it to start and end, undercutting it a little bit just so visually I know what's going on. I have that part now, and I want the edge of the bowl to go pretty much just as far out as this foot here. So let's start opening the middle of the bowl. I think about 2 knuckles down is probably the right amount. Since it's pretty thick now, I can put 2 fingers in to really get myself going out. Clippity clop goes the wheel. Now I've got the bottom going to about here in my bowl. Don't want it to go too far down, otherwise it won't be realistic. Got it just about as wide as I want. Compress the inside and get that water sopped up from in there. I'm choosing to use Phoenix, 1 because we have some left over, and 2 because it'll fire white. And I really want to be able to just clear coat the actual body of the clay and let that white clay do all of the coloring work like a true toilet would. Because usually toilets are made out of porcelain. Porcelain, FYI, is quite the pain to throw with, but very beautiful if you do. Now, as I'm looking at the profile of this, definitely needs to round out a little bit more, so I'm going to bring it out and up. Nobody's gonna sit that low on a toilet unless they got really short legs, which, speaking on behalf of the people with short legs, I still wouldn't be inclined to use this one. Alright. So normally toilets bow out and then they go a little bit straight. This doesn't have to be too hyper realistic. It's literally gonna go on the floor. You're probably going to be the only person that gets immense joy out of this besides your visiting bathroom guests. So before my phone stopped recording because of storage limitations, I was going to say that that is the shape you are looking for. So after you do this 1 week, you let it sit for the week, come back and get ready to trim it. And when you're about to start trimming, you want to roll out some slabs so that they are the same consistency when you're done trimming so that you can assemble your pieces. So as these are sitting, we're gonna go ahead and trim this guy over here. So let's get to it. So if you've seen my trimming before, you know that I like to start with a little dot in the middle. And I do that by just slowly spinning the wheel, figuring out where I think the center of my piece is, putting down my needle tool for a little moment, letting it draw a circle, stopping the wheel, checking the distance from that dot to the sides of my piece, and seeing if it's all equidistant, which right now it seems like it is. So I'm going to try a larger one so I can not have to put my arm as far out. Let's try this one now. Down. A little bit less. A little bit more. Ooh, significantly less. And significantly less. So over here, there's some more space. So I'm just going to very gently nudge it to that spot. Cover this up again. And rinse and repeat until you get the right place. So I'm gonna give it another go. And try checking it out again. A lot better now. So now I'm going to start trimming. So with this piece, I know that the bottom ends about right where this ends, but I'm going to want to tap and hear the thickness as I go. And I know that I want to keep the margin probably around there. So I'm going to go ahead, put my line in so that I know where my ideal margin is for my foot. Of course, it got a little bit messed up there. There. So there. So now it's not super obvious, distracting, but it's there. So before my phone cut off, once again from losing storage, I was going to show you that this is the beautiful foot and bottom part of this toilet. So now I'm going to be assembling the rest of the toilet together with these slabs, which are setting up pretty well, but we'll see how they hold up as I start putting them all together. And as I am notorious for not measuring things in advance, I will not be measuring anything here as well. But I will give you the dimensions of the full project at the very end.